Hey guys, welcome back to Philip Draws Comics and now manga. Lately I've been getting requests from people asking me to please continue my Toriyama tutorial video series. For those interested, I've already made videos on how to draw hands and heroic faces like Akira Toriyama of Dragon Ball fame. Well, today we're going to move on to the rest of the torso. I'm going to walk you through drawing a standard human/hero body in Toriyama style, share some of my observations on how he draws muscles, particularly the arms and the chest, and then I'll give you some tips on how to position those elements in space, overlapping the forms to give you dynamic poses in classic Dragon Ball Z style. So let's go ahead and get started. First things first, let's look at the arms. Maybe a good way to illustrate how Toriyama draws arms, specifically early 90s Freeza and Cell era Toriyama, is to compare and contrast his style against that of his successor and pupil Toyotaro. Now, to be clear, this isn't going to be a discussion of quality, just about the differences in execution to better qualify what each one of them is doing and why. As most fans know, by this stage in his career, Toriyama had shifted away from his more cute and cuddly, rounded body types from Dr. Slump and early Dragon Ball to the now classic sharp and angular Z-era style. As such, the usually rounded musculature of a human body becomes a series of straight lines, sharp angles, and solid points where muscles meet. Compare that against Toyotaro, who actually walks a lot of that back to a more, and I use the term loosely here, realistic anatomy. Basically, a lot of artists describe human muscles as footballs, pinched on the ends, fat in the middle, and round all the way around. Toriyama takes that and turns the footballs into diamonds, or bricks, or cinder blocks. Straight lines, sharp points. Toriyama muscles don't flow into each other so much as they lock into place like Pangea before continental drift. That's the thing to keep in mind. If you find yourself wondering how a shoulder or bicep or pec is supposed to look, remember that its shape is going to be defined by the shape of the muscles surrounding it. Now, once you get the shorthand locked in place in your mind, it becomes easier to twist these basic shapes in space around each other. Now let's move on to the torso. There are some very clear and easy Toriyama isms to work with here to help you telegraph that this is DBZ style art. You start in the standard middle-of-the-road strong guy body. We can inflate the muscles in a minute to give you a hulked out Broly look. So first off, we've got the clavicle, which is a straight line with a dip in the middle. And that dip is important because that's where your neck veins are going to be anchored. Whichever way you twist the head, the veins start there and point to the edge of the jaw or bottom of the ears. Now we do classic Toriyama pec cage. The easiest way to do this is to draw one simple line under the clavicle, branch them off, then up on each side. Now again, we're going to leave space open and we're going to keep these muscles unconnected because he's only mid-level, as I'm calling it. You can connect these forms and make each one an individual thing, but the more you do that, the stronger the guy is going to look, because just like in real life, the more defined your muscles are, the stronger you look. Then you draw the abs, which are a simple tic-tac-toe looking grid. And then you close the whole thing off with lats, ribs, and waist. The lats are actually muscles on the back. Think of them kind of like Ninja Turtle shells. And the bigger they are, the more you can see them in the front. And the steeper the cut from the lats to the waist, the stronger your guy is going to look. Now let's take these same ideas and pump a bunch of hot air into those muscle groups, making them balloon out like they're trying to escape. Remember, the bones don't change shape, so the connection point always stays the same. I'm talking about the points of the football or the diamond. Now let's go full brawly and make those muscles want to burst. Again, you can see if we take each individual muscle, each pec, and draw it as a complete shape, it makes the guy look stronger. Now if you look here, you have one shoulder muscle and one bicep, looks pretty strong. Now we're adding extra shoulder muscles to give it that hulked out pumpkin look that you get with Ultra Super Saiyan, Broly, Final Form, Freeza. Again, you just kind of layer muscles on top of each other to create a more beefy look. The most useful thing to keep in mind when drawing any body, but specifically Toriyama bodies, is the principle of overlapping shapes. If we draw 3 circles side by side and then move them, you can understand what I mean. The one closest to you not only gets bigger, but it starts to eclipse the ones behind it. The more extreme you go, the more the other guys just disappear. This is going to serve you well when it comes to positioning forearms in relation to the biceps and the shoulder. Generally, if the hand is angled towards the camera, the hand is going to cover up a lot of the forearm is going to cover up a lot of the bicep, and the bicep is going to cover up a lot of the shoulder. You can see a good example of that on the Nappa here that we're drawing. I intended to just kind of show the arms, but then the drawing got away from me, and so I ended up just drawing the whole thing. But we can kind of treat this as sort of like a midpoint check-in. As I said, I already did videos on how to draw faces and hands. So if you look at those and then watch this video, you can kind of take all of those tips and tricks and draw something like this. It's worth noting that this is a Saiyan Saga era musculature, which is still kind of partly Dragon Ball era. So the muscle groups are a lot softer and not quite as hard-edged as they'll become in the next couple of examples we'll do. So now let's jump straight into prime time Dragon Ball Z and specifically go to the end of the fight between Goku and Freeza. Both those characters are not only sort of bloodlusted, but their musculature is completely roided out. Each one of them is maxed out strength. And Toriyama illustrates this by having all of their muscle groups be inflated to the point of parody. Not only that, but having veins popping out everywhere. Now, I realize at this point I'm just flying through and laying down lines without any forethought. That's mostly because I've been doing this for 20-something years, and I can pretty much do that with my eyes closed. But we're going to slow down for a second here and actually go through some construction lines, some techniques you can use on a more foundational level to lay down, to kind of plan out where you want those muscle groups to go. This here is just standard anatomy drawing techniques. You can find how-to videos anywhere on YouTube. It's all circles and tubes to create depth and help you kind of, I like to use it to plan out where the muscle groups are going to go. We've got a center line. Now, the center line on the chest is always going to be basically between the two pecs and between, the set of abs. And wherever you want that center line to go, you're going to see more of the other half of the body that's pointing at you. See how kind of like in our earlier examples, you've got that one pec is completely rendered, but the other pec is just sort of peeking out. Same with the abs. And at this point, the angle is so extreme, you don't even see the Goku's left hand. A little bit of a tip, too, if you're drawing battle damage. If you're copying from a reference, don't really sweat making sure that the rags and the belts and the hair and everything are in the exact same place as the original drawing. If you wanted to do that, if we wanted to see you do that, you can just go trace something. So in those instances, I know it's kind of smarter to just let the pen go where it wants to go because it's going to look better, even if it's not perfectly accurate to what you're drawing. And here we'll just throw in for a little bonus, a little bit of drawing the back. You see the shoulders and the pecs are basically, the shoulders and the arms are basically the same construction that you had at the front. You just don't bother doing the pec, and you have the, instead of the abs poking out, you've got the spine curving inward. Now, we've been doing really roided out monsters from the Z era, but here's just sort of classic Dragon Ball style. This is from the 23rd tournament. You can see all these same tips and tricks and muscle groups exist in these earlier, simpler forms. He just, again, doesn't connect them, and he's still using sort of like cross-hatching and rendering on muscles to delineate them instead of just drawing a hard, straight line to define the bicep. So now we're going to take kind of everything and sort of put it all together. Also, we're going to focus a little more on the legs in this particular drawing. The good news is Toriyama focuses mostly on hands and upper bodies, so most of his guys wear pants. So you can pretty much cheat when it comes to positioning legs on a figure. But just for completeness, in case you ever want to draw a battle damage Goku or Vegeta, or somebody who doesn't wear pants like Freeza or Zarbon, he also defines the individual leg muscle groups, and how you do that is up to you. Kind of the simplest way is to think about sort of a cartoon dog bone, flat on the sides, and then it has that two boxes balanced against each other on the end. Now, it's worth noting that you can take all these notions and apply them to your own work. I'm kind of trying to give you sort of a mindset idea and some just general tips and tricks. The best way to get good at drawing Toriyama style is just to go out and find not just Toriyama drawn images, but find Toritaro stuff too. You're on YouTube right now, look up clips from the anime, find, some of the best animators. There's a wide range of different animators that worked on Dragon Ball. Find the best ones, take screenshots, and use the techniques I've given you to kind of see if you can sort of break them down in your own way. best advice I can give you is to take it easy on yourself. You know, Toriyama's own style changed wildly over the course of his career, to the point that near the end, his own art looked like something completely different from both his Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z era art. So if he can get away with drawing a Goku that doesn't look right, so can you. Plenty of fan artists out there are doing work that mixes and matches all the different eras of Toriyama's style and even add their own things, making something totally new. So my suggestion is you just play around and have fun. That's how you get better. That's Goku's philosophy anyway. So if you haven't yet, check out my other videos on how to draw hands and faces in Toriyama's style. Heck, even if you have watched those, go watch those again now that you've seen this and see if you can connect the dots and pull the whole thing together. Thanks for watching, gang, and be sure to share with your friends. If this video gets enough views, it'll motivate me to keep this series going. We can study how to draw hair, clothes, alien bodies, women, whatever you guys want. Just let me know in the comments what I should cover next, what you're interested in or what maybe you've been having trouble with, and see if I can help you clear some of that stuff up. Thanks again so much for watching, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.